Chapter 14. The Edge of Infinity. Kael's mind swirled in the void. A vast, indescribable space stretched around him, a canvas of possibilities. There were no walls, no ground, no sky, just an infinite expanse of data, shifting and fluctuating. A storm of code clashed with memory, reality blending with illusion until it was impossible to tell which was which. He couldn't focus on anything for long enough to make sense of it. All he knew was that something was changing, both within him and around him. His body felt weightless, as though gravity itself had been suspended in the moment between worlds. The hum of the digital universe was replaced by a deafening silence, like the moment just before a storm. He floated there, suspended in the middle of everything and nothing, when a voice echoed from the darkness. Kael! It was a familiar voice, Din, but this time it sounded different, softer, almost vulnerable. Dan? Kael called out, his voice swallowed by the vastness. Where are you? What's happening? We're past the threshold now, Dan's voice replied, distant but clear. The system has collapsed. The simulation is no longer running. We've entered the space between what was and what will be. Kael's mind raced. This space, it wasn't just a glitch or a byproduct of the collapsing simulation. It was something else. It was the place where reality, memory, and potential converged. A place where anything could happen. Where everything could be rewritten. This wasn't just the end of the simulation, it was the beginning of something entirely new. Where are we? Kael asked again, his voice almost pleading for answers. He needed something to hold on to, something tangible to guide him through this disorienting void. This is the edge of infinity, Dan responded. It's not a place, not a location. It's a state of being. It's where possibilities are born. But it's also where everything unravels. The weight of Dan's words hit Kael like a sudden blow to the chest. A state of being. A place where everything unravels. This was where the final pieces of the puzzle would either fall into place or be lost forever. He had no idea which one it would be. And yet, despite the uncertainty, he could feel something inside him, the remnants of all he had experienced, all the pain, the loss, the victories, the failures stirring to life again. Dan, what do I need to do? Kael asked, urgency creeping into his voice. How do we get out of here? You're not meant to get out, Kael, Dan replied, almost cryptically. You're meant to transform. Transform? Into what? You, Dan said simply. You were always meant to be the one who could hold the simulation together, break it apart, and rebuild it as you see fit. You were never just a piece of this system. You were its key. Kael tried to process the enormity of Dan's words. He had always been a participant in this war, this fractured reality. But to hear that he was the key to all of it, the one who could reshape the world in his image, it was too much. It felt too grand, too overwhelming. I can't do this, Kael whispered, his voice wavering. I'm not a god. I'm just me. You're more than just you, Kael, Dan said, his tone gentle yet resolute. You've learned, adapted, survived. All the pieces you've unlocked, all the simulations you've broken, they've been leading you here, to this moment. You've been chosen. Whether you accept it or not, you are the next step in the evolution of consciousness. Kael's mind reeled. Could it be true? Could he really be the one to remake everything, to build a new world from the ashes of the old one? Was he capable of reshaping reality itself? Everything I've learned, Kael said, his voice growing stronger with each word. All the fragments, the memories, the codes, I can't just ignore them. They've changed me, but I'm not sure if I can control them. They're inside me, and I'm scared of what that means. You don't have to control them, Kael, Dan reassured him. You just have to integrate them. Use them, not to control, but to understand. This place, this space, you're in the heart of it. You're at the precipice of creation. You have everything you need to shape the future, but only if you embrace who you are now. All of it. Kael closed his eyes, his breath steadying. He could feel the weight of the data, the code, the simulations, all of it pressing in on him, alive within him. The memories of Kessler, Vandel, and Sumi High, all the broken fragments that had been implanted in him, were no longer just whispers. They were part of him now. Their knowledge, their power, he could feel it coursing through his veins, surging in his mind. It was overwhelming, yet exhilarating. He could feel his own consciousness expanding, stretching into places it had never been before. This wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about creation. It was about rebirth. I'm ready, Kael said, his voice steady now, stronger than it had ever been. I'm ready to change everything. For the first time, there was a profound silence. The void seemed to hold its breath, as if waiting for Kael to make his choice. Then, without warning, the space around him began to shift. The swirling data, the fractured reality, everything started to form together into something coherent. A new landscape was emerging from the void, one shaped by Kael's will. The lines of code, the remnants of the old simulation, were being woven into something new, something better. This is it, Kael murmured, watching as the world around him came into focus. The space was no longer empty. It was now filled with structures, with landscapes that felt real, but also unlike anything he had ever seen. The world was being born before his eyes. And then, as if in response to his thoughts, the landscape began to change. A city, tall and gleaming, rose from the ground. Its architecture was organic, flowing, as if the buildings themselves were alive. The air shimmered with energy, and Kael felt it, the pulse of life coursing through the city, the hum of creation. This is where it begins, Kael said, his voice filled with wonder. Yes, Dian said, his voice distant but full of pride. This is your creation. The world you've always dreamed of, built from the ashes of the old one. The simulation is over. This is reality now. Kael looked around, taking in the beauty of the world he had just created. It was a place of peace, of harmony, where the past was not forgotten but used to build something better. He could feel the weight of all the memories, the knowledge, the power that had led him here. And he knew, deep within him, that this was just the beginning. As the city continued to grow and evolve, Kael stood at the edge of it, looking out over the horizon. The future was waiting for him, waiting for them all. And he was ready.